Hello, everyone. My name is John Jenkins, and this is my version of the I Have a Dream speech. I am more than happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as one very insightful YouTube video. You see, about 150 years ago, a man named Abraham Lincoln, who was the 16th President of the United States of America, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. It did not actually make slavery illegal, and the institution of slavery actually continued for decades afterwards. It was, however, a step in the right direction. 150 years later, the Negro is free, but still not happy. Apparently, we said that we wanted to end segregation and discrimination, but that's not what was at the heart of what we really wanted. That's why we have so many black leaders today saying that if they had been in Martin Luther King's position at the time in the 60s, they would have gone in a completely different direction. I guess that hindsight is always 2020, as they say. 150 years later, the Negro is not and never will be the richest American, but he is demonstrably more wealthy than any other Negro on earth. 150 years later, the Negro is the most high-profile American, on TV more often than anybody except for white men themselves. We are currently experiencing all the advantages and disadvantages that come along with fame. We love it when they watch us at the NBA dunk contest. We hate it when they watch us riot. What I'm saying is that things are going pretty well for us, though it could be better. Basically, we've come to the nation's internet to check for an email or a video update. When the creators of our republic wrote the poignant words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they supposedly meant for them to apply for everybody, every American. This electronic update was a guarantee that all men, women, and children of every race will be guaranteed the inalienable rights of liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which comes with the one caveat of personal responsibility. Now, I'm not one to judge, but many black Americans believe that America is like one of those people who don't send emails. And we've just been sitting here waiting for that email or that video post to YouTube, and we just haven't gotten it. Instead of giving us what we wanted, supposedly, America has given the Negro spam emails full of pornography and African princes looking to transfer large sums of money. But we don't want to believe that America's email has been hacked. We refuse to believe that America is a neophyte who doesn't understand how to use a digital video camera. So we are checking our email and our YouTube wall again, looking for the promise of irreverent, witty humor and informative discourse. And we just want white people to know that we Negroes will be living on the North American continent for the rest of human history and long after America is over. So there's no rush. That said, black people need to cool off. If we are truly not ready for the freedoms we're asking for, then we just need to ask for something more practical. I mean, we have a mulatto in the White House, but blacks in Chicago can't have peace in their own neighborhoods. Which one is it? Take it from me. The promise of democracy is out there. We don't need to get rid of segregation altogether. In fact, black businesses of the past benefited immensely from segregation. Even today, most black businesses would fail if our societies were truly integrated. Integration is not a prerequisite for brotherhood. We can all experience justice in our lifetimes. I can't speak for anybody else, but I could go without another first black this or first black that. When every summer black people just go crazy and start murdering each other in the streets, the first blacks haven't done much to help us on that front. In 2014, what has happened is that we have plateaued. The American Negro is more successful than ever, but is now succeeding at a slower pace than before the Civil Rights Movement. The infamous sweltering summers of violence will only be quenched by the invigorating autumn of personal responsibility. Luckily for us in 2014, they're not just shipping us all back to Africa with nothing but the clothes on our backs and a new language. Let's be honest, because it has become obvious to anybody who has observed us these last 50 years that we were just blowing our steam back in the 60s. We showed what we were really about with what we did right after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. Remember those riots? And every few years thereafter, it was business as usual. There will be no rest for the weary in America until the Negro figures out how to pull his finger out of the Chinese finger trap called destitution. And with every one of these riots, the black American stock goes down in the worldwide stock market of prosperity. But things aren't all bad. Black NBA players are still making millions, the black middle class is flourishing, twerking is on the national consciousness. Let us not seek to satisfy our desire for money and attention by drinking from the cup of ratchetness. We need to be on our grind and run a tight ship. And the knockout game is not funny. Again and again, we must go to work and pay our bills. And fellas, if you play, you pay. Don't make them have to lock you up when your DNA is all over the room. You know you did it. And don't be fooled by these white people who come around encouraging bad behavior. Because at the end of the day, he can get a job even during a recession. What about you? We're going to have to walk alone on that one. Hey, there's nothing wrong with walking alone. As we walk, we will probably have to take a lot of rest stops along the way. And I'm telling you right now that many of you will turn back. There are those who are asking those who crave money and attention, when will you be satisfied? I say to you that greed is greed. There is no satisfying it. Just look at the way we protest police brutality. And don't let a white business owner deny us service for whatever reason. We demand the world as compensation and we receive nothing. Blacks are never satisfied because the most popular of them are from the ghettos, small and large. And let's face it, we know what happened when we tried to desegregate the schools. We moved our kids in and whites moved right out of there. We probably won't be trying that one again. And what's all this nonsense I hear about voter suppression? You need a state ID to get your booze on the weekend. You do remember that, right? No. We are not satisfied and will not be satisfied until black businessmen roll down like waters and black fathers like a mighty stream. I am not unmindful that some of you are at where you're at right now because you just screwed up. And yes, I know that some of you in jail were set up. I was almost set up too, so I feel your pain. I only wish I had grown up in a black suburb like Richmond Park or Calumet City. My life would have been totally different. You see, this is what I like to call creative suffering. This, what we're going through right now, is what they mean when they say that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that if you stay on your grind, you can turn Compton into the Hamptons.